What's going on, guys? It's Rob from Heroes Avenue. Happy New Year. Welcome to 2019. I hope you guys are all having a fantastic start to the new year. I'm pretty energized for having my first day back at work today, but I'm really excited right now because we get to talk some Shazam, some Aquaman, and a little bit of Justice League, surprisingly. But also, at the end of this video, I'm going to read off some random comments from my last video on the Marvel formula, a video that was meant to spark some discussion, and a lot of you guys are definitely fired up. So I'm going to choose some random comments and read those at the end of this video. But first, we are talking Shazam. Let's get into it. All right, first topic we're talking about today is a new set photo from Shazam. And of course, it's going to be showcasing our Shazam family. Billy, Freddy to the very side, Mary to the right of Billy, and I'm assuming that's Pedro right there in the green, and Eugene on the bottom right there with the glasses, and little Darla right there. So this is cool to see. It's not the first time we've seen the Shazam family together. Definitely look like a happy bunch. It looks like they have a lot of chemistry if you've seen them in little videos early on when they all got casted. It looks like they have good chemistry, and I cannot wait to see them all interact with each other. What I am most curious about, though, is whether or not we're going to actually see the Shazam family with all of their powers and in their suits. That would be a sight to behold, especially given the fact that when we saw the Shazam suit, when we got our first images of the Shazam suit, there was a ton of criticism. I was one of the early defenders of the suit. I made a video that was probably one of our most popular videos on here, defending the suit. So you can go ahead and look that up. I always liked the suit, and I like it now that we see more images of it polished. But my question to you guys is, do you think we're going to see the Shazam family in its full glory in their suits? And if you do think we are, do you think we will see any of them in the marketing for this movie? Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. I'm super excited. I'm actually rereading the Jeff Johns Shazam New 52 book that was out. So I'm rereading that to get hyped for this movie. But we are supposed to get a new trailer for this movie. They hinted that we would be getting one soon, and the rumor right now is mid-January, so January 19th to be specific, for the new trailer for Shazam. I am so hyped. We got descriptions of this trailer by Steve Weintraub from Collider. He described seeing footage from the actual movie, a fight scene between Shazam and Dr. Savannah, and also a scene that references Tom Hanks' movie Big. So, of course, that's what this movie is. It's a superhero version of Big, so it's going to be cool to see that. We might see that in the trailer. And hopefully we get that big money shot that Steve Weintraub was talking about, where Billy jumps off the building, calls out the magic word, and begins to fly. That looks like an amazing shot. So, can't wait for that trailer. Super hyped. Definitely will do either a trailer reaction or a trailer description. I don't want to get flagged on our account by putting some of that footage on here, but I will definitely, at the minimum, do a description of the trailer or a breakdown when it does come out. Next, we're still talking about Shazam. It looks like they are in post-production for this movie, and David F. Sandberg posted on his Instagram. He's a fun guy to follow on Instagram, by the way, guys. He trolls people all day and night. So he is at Pony Smasher on Instagram, and he posted these new kicks, post-production shoes is what he wrote on the description right there. And you could see some Air Max 1s with the inscription Shazam on it. You know what I'm saying? I used to be a shoe head back in the day. I used to collect shoes, sell shoes. Wow, these look pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, guys. These are something I want. You know, it looks like they got the glowing air bubble right there, and it's a light up air bubble. Definitely makes you feel like a kid again. You know, you weren't the shit back in the day unless you had the light up shoes, and it looks like these Air Max 1s have light up shoes in light of the light-hearted nature of this movie, I'm assuming. These look pretty fly. It looks like he got them off of Evolved Footwear, and I think you can customize your own sneakers on that site. But man, these look pretty cool. I'd rock them. Let me know what you guys think of these sneakers. I know a lot of you guys probably won't like them, but you know, given how excited I am for this movie, I'm definitely digging these Air Max 1s right here. This is cool. Okay, let's move on to Aquaman. So Aquaman has officially surpassed Wonder Woman, becoming the second highest grossing DC Universe movie to date at the worldwide box office. Arthur's first cinematic solo outing has now grossed $216.3 million in North America, $606.5 million overseas, and with a global total of $822.9 million. So Guys, this is on track to potentially hit that $1 billion mark. A lot of you guys wouldn't even say, when I made that video, the box office prediction video, a lot of you guys said it wouldn't even get to 800 million. I'm sorry. So this is pretty crazy, guys. Still, I'm gonna pose the question again. Do you guys think it's gonna hit the $1 billion mark? It looks like it is on its way. I hope it does, because I loved Aquaman. Not that I didn't love all the other movies, but man, this is such a great story. Who would have thought Aquaman, of all characters, would be the highest grossing DCEU movie? Not me, I can tell you that. So, let's look at some more Aquaman news. It looks like there is some clip art on some alternate versions of Atlantis. Now, when you guys first saw Atlantis, what did you guys actually think? Because I thought it was cool. A lot of people compare the whole Atlantis unveiling scene to Black Panther, of course. I guess it's a fair comparison, but they are definitely two different worlds with two different cultures. We didn't get to see the culture so much on display in Aquaman, but hopefully we get to see that in a sequel. But check out some of these images here. These are some concept arts for Atlantis, and I am liking them. So this first one here, it looks like it's Atlantis above water, and of course, this is before the sinking of Atlantis. Second one, again, looks like another Atlantis above water. It looks kind of similar. This looks like exactly like what we got in the movie, actually. Moving on to the third one. This third one, I am digging. This is obviously underwater. You see the whales right there. This one I am digging the most. I wish we got this as Atlantis. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's kind of what we got, but it looks a little bit different. It's like on the cliffs right here. I can't remember if that's what it looked like in the movies, but it looks a little bit different than what we got in the movies, and I am totally digging it. It looks so fantasy. It looks like such a fantasy epic. I'm loving this concept art right here. This is awesome. And this last image looks a little bit more like what we actually got, I think. So you get to see those floating buildings there. Don't get me wrong, this is amazing, guys. I love the Atlantis we got in there, but I'm digging the one previous to this one. I'm digging this one a lot more, this third picture. What do you guys think? Which one is your favorite? Did you like the one we got in the movies, or would you have liked to see this picture right here? This is actually the one I would prefer. But either way, I am not complaining, because this movie is visually a treat to the eye. I want to see it in 3D. Some people don't like 3D. My older brother, he loves these superhero movies, but he actually had to leave the theater in 3D because he was getting a headache. So, but I want to see this movie in 3D. I imagine it'd be amazing. So let me know which one of these concept arts you prefer, guys. Speaking of Aquaman too, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see Jeff Johns, how much he interacts with James Wan. Now, Jeff Johns, you guys might love him or hate him, but I definitely love him for the comics he wrote. But there is stories. There's stories that we've heard on the internet, or that we've read on the internet, rumors that Jeff Johns was messing around with Zack Snyder's cut of Justice League, and even in Batman vs. Superman. So, I don't know what to believe in that regard, but I do know I love Jeff Johns' writing. I love how he reinvigorated Aquaman in the New 52. He made him the Aquaman that I love today, and there's a cool little story about how Jeff Johns did this interview where he talked about James Wan texting him and saying that, I don't know if we can fit Black Manta into this Aquaman movie. It might be too crowded already. And Jeff Johns talks about how he texted or walked back to James Wan's office and said, Black Manta has to be in this movie. James Wan goes, I know he does. And a lot of people complain about this movie being overstuffed. That Black Manta shouldn't have been in this movie, that they should have just focused on one villain. And I disagree. I actually loved that Black Manta was in this movie. I feel like Black Manta gave Arthur Curry an arc in this movie. It felt like because of Black Manta, he sees that he wasn't acting heroically in the beginning. He should have done the right thing, saved Black Manta's father, and in turn, he never would have this villain, or that he wouldn't have this arch nemesis that he has now. He had turned this guy into he wasn't the best guy to begin with, but he now has an arch nemesis for life because he did the wrong thing. So Aquaman realized this by the end, so he kind of gets a hero arc when he starts to realize, the difference he could have made if he had chose to do the right thing. So I definitely love Black Manta in there, and obviously the action sequence with Black Manta was incredible. It was so sick. Oh my gosh, I could watch those scenes over and over again, and I love how James Wan went over the top, made it made it the Black Manta suit that we know from the comics, and I just can't wait to see more of this. And Jeff Johns wants to see more of Black Manta in the future. Of course, Yahya Abdul-Mateen, who plays Black Manta, says he can pop up anywhere in the DC universe now. So I'm sure we haven't seen the last of Black Manta yet, especially if you've seen the post-credit scenes, or the mid-credit scene in Aquaman. So that's awesome. More Aquaman news, last little news bit right here. James Wan actually got the blessing from Zack Snyder, for this Aquaman movie. So I'll read you the quote here. James Wan says, "Yeah, I showed Zack Snyder my director's cut pretty much right after I finished it, and he gave me his thumbs up. He was really complimentary about it. He basically gave his blessing to me to go finish the movie because he knew how huge of an undertaking I had with the visual effects. What he saw was a lot of blue screen, a lot of previs, and a lot of storyboards. You photograph your storyboard and you cut it into the film, and so it was very, very rough and crude, but I think the human element is there, and that played, and I think he and Debbie Snyder were very complimentary about it. They gave us their blessing." So very cool, guys, because as we all know, we got to thank Zack Snyder for starting up this universe. Whether you love it or hate it, he did start the ECU universe, and I love everything he's put out. Justice League, I don't count as his, but I do want to see the Snyder Cut. One of the comments in our last video said, "Oh, there is no Snyder Cut." You need to follow this thing a little bit more, man. I know it's not actually a finished cut with all the visual effects done, but there is a Snyder Cut, just like James Wan is talking about. He showed this cut to Zack Snyder. There is a cut of Justice League, and I want to see it with the effects done. Hopefully we get a surprise at a Comic-Con this year. There's some rumors that we might actually get it. Who knows? I'm not gonna think too much about it. It's just a cool thing to hope for, but it's definitely cool to see Zack Snyder gave his blessing. Of course, Zack Snyder is the genius that casted Jason Momoa as Aquaman and gave us a whole new way to think about this character. So really cool to think about. And speaking of Zack Snyder, the last thing I want to touch on in this video is this Justice League deleted clip. Check this out. This looks pretty awesome. It is Batman being recorded by a surveillance camera, and he is throwing a batarang at this camera, and it just looks pretty awesome. It's another scene that was left on the cutting room floor. Of course, they wanted to keep the Justice League movie. The execs at Warner Brothers wanted to keep the Justice League movie under 2 hours or at 2 hours. Big mistake on their end, I believe, at least in my opinion. But yeah, it's just cool to see a little bit extra footage from a Justice League movie that should have been a lot more for us fans. Now, before we end this video, I definitely want to address some of you guys in the comments. I can't read all of them, sorry about that, but that Marvel Formula video definitely got people debating in the comment section. That's kind of what I wanted. I didn't want all the attacks or people attacking each other, but I definitely wanted some cool debate, because that's what's the best thing about these movies. We get to debate, argue about them, and as a lover of both Marvel and DC and comic book movies in general, I definitely wanted to see what you guys thought, and I'll just go ahead and pick some random comments. Galaxy Kane says, "DC has found its look. Keep the comic book look." Oh, yeah, I totally agree, man. And I think they totally found their comic book look in every movie. It's just sometimes the execution needs to be there, for example, like Suicide Squad. But I do think all the other movies did execute on many levels. Not perfect, but they all executed in many levels. And I love pretty much every DC movie. I have something to like about them, actually. So a lot of people complain that I always complain about DC. But that's just because I'm very passionate about it, Let's go ahead and Orlando Wilson. "I really love this channel. Been watching since I came across it. Definitely better than some of the other channels like Comic Book Cast 2, who does nothing but shit on DC to praise Marvel. It's good to see that some people can appreciate one without shitting on the other." Oh yeah. So guys, a lot of people have commented or confused our channel for Comic Book Cast 2. I used to follow that guy too until that guy just started really shitting on all the DC movies. Because I guess he changed his colors to orange. I don't think his colors used to be orange, but now his colors are orange, just like our channel. Don't get it confused, guys. Someone on the comment section was bashing on me about being a DC hater, and I'm like, dude, 90% or 95% of my channel is DC. And though I do bash on them sometimes, only I bash on the executives and the decisions the executives made. I love DC movies. Love DC comics too. And we are not Comic Book Cast 2. Definitely not him. Thanks, Orlando, for letting us know that. We appreciate you as well for joining in on the conversation and letting us know, because it really keeps me and Darren going, hearing that people love to hear our conversation in our videos. Loves Falcon says, you nailed it. I like all the DCU films and the Marvel films that I really like. Uh, but there's definitely a bias when it comes to DC. I like having both the silliness of Marvel and the seriousness of DC. I like how they complement each other. The critics are behind the times. Yeah, so some people disagree with me in the fact that I think there is a bias towards DC. I'm not saying all critics have a bias, but I do think there is one, a general bias going around in Hollywood with these critics. But I love having a balance. I like Marvel for what it does. Again, I don't think it's perfect. I don't think no movie is perfect. There's always something you can criticize in a movie or with a studio, and I do like Marvel films. The whole continuity they have. It's so hard to put together something like they are doing. And again, having a formula makes it a lot easier to make it feel like one universe. Whether you like that formula or not is up to you. I do find things I enjoy. I find things I don't like, just like I do in DCEU movies. But because I am a fan of the comic book movie genre, I'm gonna love the movie with its flaws or without its flaws. So yeah, definitely love both. Um, uh, Anurag Hazarika says DC should always release their movies on foreign markets first. I'm not sure if that's really the case. If they should, it definitely did well for Aquaman. But I think there's a lot of things playing to Aquaman's favor and releasing in the foreign markets. It did huge gangbusters in China. So, of course, James Wan probably had something to do with that. Him being an Asian director, and also, the fact that when this movie's marketing came out, it was like you see tons of monsters, and the look of the movie just seemed to be something like an Asian audience would love, given that the whole kaiju genre type thing. I'm not sure how to describe that best, but it does well in these type of movies do well in foreign markets. So I guess you gotta play it smart and see what the audience likes. Let's see. Eric John Perante says, I really love the content on your channel. Thank you. Really appreciate you, man. Rose God says, simple. Disney bought the critics and they only do good reviews for Marvel movies. A lot of people comment stuff like that. I don't agree with that. I just think there's this mind frame that a lot of people are in when they're watching a DC movie compared to a Marvel movie. I know a lot of people and a lot of critics definitely want to like both movies, but for some reason I feel like and maybe I touched on it in the last video that the critics definitely they're so much harsher on the DC movies. Eric Perry says, DC's strongest points are villains. They have the best in the comics, and when done right, they can bring balance to a story. Man of Steel was awesome. For me, it is what I wanted to see in a Superman movie. Show me how we would deal with in today's world. Finding his place. Loved it because society is so pessimistic. I truly feel if we did have a Superman, we would treat him the same. They need a sequel to get him to the point he was in Justice League. BVS title killed any chance of that story being appreciated, and the director's cut was a version that should have came out. And again, DC movies are grounded in today's worlds, where Marvel's movies are grounded in the world we want to believe is the same as ours. Wow, I love that, Eric Perry. That is a great point. I'm gonna make sure I screenshot your comment because I love that point you make, Eric. That's pretty cool. I'm trying to find another guy commented on us and was super bashing me, but I do want to point him out because he did bring up some points that I'm sure a lot of people are thinking. King EB says, do you say that DCU is doing quite well? Dude, Aquaman, Man of Steel, and Wonder Woman were the only three that truly did well, if not amazing. So 3 out of 6? Yeah, dude, I think DCU is still doing well. Dude, 3 out of 6. If you think about the first movies that came out from Marvel, for a lot of people that it could feel the same way, even though I found a lot of things that I like with about movies, but I think it's doing well. It's just people when history judges it, depending on how the next few years go for DC, you people will be able to look back on this and say, yeah, man, DC got off to a rough start given how divisive some of the movies were at the time. But looking at it as a whole, if this universe works, it's all going to work itself out. I think it's doing well. I mean, don't get me, because for me personally, I loved 4 out of 6 of those movies, and then the movies I didn't love, I still enjoyed. So everyone's entitled to their own opinion, so that's cool. Okay, here We got Rex Raymond says, critics don't hate DCEU movies. You're finding excuses for the movie you like but didn't work for others. Most Marvel movies have better execution than DC. They tried to cram more story in movie, i.e. BVS. In the case of Man of Steel, killing Zod would have been welcome if Superman didn't destroy half Metropolis recklessly. Suicide Squad makes no sense. Aquaman is another convoluted movie, but still self-contained. No setup except for the post-credit scene. Believe in momentum. Marvel's killing it movie after movie, and DC don't have this yet. Aquaman is a hit. Shazam should also be a hit. If it does, people's excitement for the next movie will be high. This could affect critics' enjoyment of the movie. Also, we don't go to watch comic book movies except for a fun time, a wave of escapism, something that is not experienced from Snyder's films. Finally, there's no such thing as a Snyder Cut. It's not a movie. You will only see actors acting on a green screen. It's like ordering pizza, but you get uncooked ingredients instead. Rather, ask for a Snyder script. All right, Rex, you make some good points for sure, but a lot of it is your opinion versus my opinion. And in regards to things that I like that don't work for others, that's what talking movies is usually, is your opinion versus another opinion, and trying to rationalize why you feel a certain way. And I do feel like DC movies get treated a little bit different compared to Marvel movies from the critics. Marvel movies get away with a lot of things that DC movies won't get away with in terms of just being nitpicky. A lot of critics nitpick on certain things that I don't hear mentioned in other movies. But in the case of some of the other points you make, Man of Steel, killing Zod would have been welcomed if Superman didn't destroy half Metropolis recklessly. Man, he was defending Metropolis from Zod. He was Superman for like one day. One day. He didn't yet become Superman. This was a story of him becoming Superman. So, and you make the point later on saying people come for enjoyment and it's not experienced in Snyder's films. I totally disagree. I enjoyed Snyder's films immensely, and I don't always come for fluff. A lot of us are not 10-year-old kids in the theaters, and we want to go to see an awesome superhero story told, and sometimes I want to see a different take or something different. We already got the lighthearted nature of Superman in the Richard Donner Superman. I wanted to see something different, and Zack Snyder definitely brought something different with David S. Goyer writing. I loved it, and I there's a whole movement of Snyder fans that can attest to that. So that's just your opinion, and it's cool. You're entitled to it. I do agree with your opinion that momentum will help DC, so Aquaman being a hit will help Shazam, and Shazam being a hit will help Wonder Woman, and vice versa. I do agree with the whole momentum thing. And in regards to the Snyder Cut, no, I disagree with you. It's of course, I know it's not a movie yet. I know a lot of the VFX are not done, but there is a cut that he screened to, or that he showed to executives and other people, because other people have stated on shows like Kevin Smith's show that she's seen the actual movie without the VFX done. So there is a script. I want to see, when people say release the Snyder Cut, they're saying they want WB to allow Zack Snyder to finish his movie, to show us the full version or the full vision of his movie. So that's when we say that, that's what we're talking about. I know the VFX are not done yet. I don't want the script. I want his movie. So also DC is also guilty of fake killing, i.e. Superman Justice League. Yeah, that's true. DC's guilty of fake killing, but as far as the consequences go, there's a lot of consequences that I feel like are missing in the Marvel movies. It's not just fake killing. I know, and I know that they're not going to kill some of their main heroes, but it just, when I talk about consequences, again, maybe I have to bring this up in another video, but I'm talking about a lot of different things, not just the killing. There you guys have it, your DC news fix for the day. Let me know what you guys thought about them in the comments below. Please give this video a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell to be notified about all of our videos once they are published. And I hope you guys, once again, are having a happy new year. I will catch you guys later. Peace.